You good? Or are you feeling lonely? Well, guess what? You are not alone. I want you to know that you are not alone. They say it's lonely at the top, but that's not true. And I'm going to prove it to you today. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Welcome to Financial Therapy Challenge. I am your host, Kene Quarter, the world's number one national certified counselor specializing in financial therapy. And I help private practice business owners get to their next level of success by implementing financial therapy into their existing approach. So, not changing anything, not, well, you got to change some things, but keeping the existing approach so you feel comfortable, but adding in some things that are going to help you and your clients get to your next level. But what's most important is you don't need another certification because that's part of why you feel alone. You're trying to feel the voids, feel the voids, feel the voids. Mistake number one, feeling the voids by adding more certifications. Oh, that happens so much. Now, there is an earlier video, I think I did it on Monday or Tuesday, where I talked about, I just realized I also have to put a link to the community in this description, but I'm going to also put a link to the last video as well. So I talked about the lonely emotions, and these are emotions like feeling misunderstood, feeling disconnected, sometimes even feeling numb because you feel like you've tried so hard and you felt so much that now you just have no more feelings left. And some of the things that I see happen with business owners, especially service based business owners, what ends up happening is you pour so much into your business, into your clients, that you have nothing left. And because you have poured so much into your business, you really have no friends. You haven't really cultivated the relationships in your family. You don't really have any hobbies. Uh-huh. So I'm not about to pull the rug from under you until you go out and find hobbies, go start cultivating these relationships with your friends and family, because that's not a fast or quick enough fix. But I do have a quick fix for you. It's going to take some time, but it is quicker than turning those relationships around, because that is going to take some time. But I got you on that too when you join the community, which we can talk about that in a second. But I want to make sure you know that that resource is there for you. So there are two reasons why you feel lonely. Now, I just named some of the mistakes that you were making, but even if you were doing it that way, where you're just pouring yourself into work and trying to get to your next level of success, there's still, you could do that and still not feel lonely. And I want to tell you how. Some of it seems so simple, but it's also going to seem a little bit hard. So, one, you don't have, or maybe you haven't cultivated a community that you can pour into. So, one that is yours, that you're responsible for. That is a big part of it. But that, again, this is a long-term solution, but because it takes time. Even if you're doing a ace of a job marketing, it's still going to take you time to build that community, because even if you have 100 people in there, only one to two or three of them are going to be interacting. So you're going to need hundreds, maybe even thousands. For example, I have a friend, she has 4,000 or 5,000 people in her community, and at any given time only about 50 to 60 of them are interacting in the community at a time. So listen to that percentage. So don't expect, and if you are expecting this group to pour into you, that's another mistake that you might be making, because it's your job to pour into them, which is why you're going to have to do the second part, and that is you have to find a tribe of people to pour into you. Now, this could mean you go and you pay to join in a mastermind, or um, anything, and keep it business related, because remember I said I want to give you a quick fix. So this is not like, oh, go out and figure out your new hobby. Now, if you have a hobby and you want to join a ski club, or I don't even know if that's a thing, a tennis club, then you can easily connect to these people. You pay, you get in, and sometimes those are $300 to $500 a month or whatever. But you might go higher than that, and you may join a mastermind, and that may cost you $10,000 for the year or $20,000 for the year, depending on the mastermind. And those are just a few of the options. There are more, but let's just go with those, because I want to keep this video short, because I have a continuing education class to get to, and I know you have some things to do too. It's Friday if you're listening to this when I'm airing it. So here are 2 things you want to do to overcome the loneliness. Now, these again are quick fixes. So, but they're not instant fixes. Can we be clear on that? It is important for you to fix the challenges one step at a time. You're going to hit some milestones along the way. You want to address an immediate need as quickly as you can. And then you want to go from addressing that immediate need to making sure that you have a long-term solution. All right. Are we clear on that? This one is addressing the immediate need as quickly as possible. And then if you join the community, or when you join the community, then you'll learn how to keep that going so that long term you will never have to feel lonely again. So I was listening to a podcast, and a guy named Brendan Schub, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He talked about having, in his career, he had this support system. It was him and Joe Rogan and a couple of other guys that, maybe 5 or 6 of them, that would always get together, just kind of like shoot the breeze, talk about what was going on in their careers, sharing resources like, oh, I did this, or I talked to this person, or this is how you make this happen. And because they had that camaraderie, because they had that connection, it wasn't a big group. It was a small group, but they were all dedicated to making sure each of them got to their next level of success. So you'll need to find 4 or 5 people that are similar to you in your success level, let's call it that. And if you can meet once or twice a month, or and if you don't want to, you don't have to make it so formal that you have a set meeting, but like maybe you guys meet at something that's common, like at the gym, or maybe you guys meet at a restaurant. You got to eat, right? And so you can make it as part of your everyday, so you don't have to create something that would add more to your to-do list. But think of 4 to 5 people. You might have to think of 10 so you get the 4 to 5. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is a wave your magic wand thing. This can be difficult if you don't have the type of people in your life already. Now, if you have been networking, if you have been in your business for a couple years, then you probably have these people around you. Now, my suggestion is not to find people in your industry, but in related industries. So, for example, if you're a financial advisor, then maybe reach out to an accountant that you really appreciate. Maybe reach out to an estate planning attorney that you really appreciate. Maybe reach out to a insurance broker that you really appreciate. Even one of your vendors. There was, when I was with Morgan Stanley, there was a wholesaler that I liked a lot. We would get together and do events together. We both were building our business. He was super smart, and he did a good job of, well, first of all, his fund was a good fund, and it was pretty conservative, but it always came through. So no, it wasn't knocking it out the park, and it wasn't the only solution I would use. But and I don't use mutual funds these days, but when I first started, because it is a good starting point for a lot of financial advisors, that was a good platform. That was a good start. And he would simplify the information for my clients. So it was a win-win for us, because if he and I could get together, talk business, where we get how we get into our next level, what are we doing, share resources. Then also he could pour into my clients for me, and then my clients are going to go with his fund. So that was just two people, but we could have invited more people to that. So you can do something similar to that. And you just need 4 or 5. At the most, you should do 8. But after that, it's going to become a lot to keep together. And don't expect everybody to be able to hang out or get together every time. So even if it's just 3 of you guys, which is kind of why you want it to be like 5, because even if 2 or 3 people, at least you're not alone. Right. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up really quickly, and I want to give you one more. And this one came from Oprah. And these tactics work. But this one is pretty esoteric. And if you've been hanging out with me for a while, you know that I study metaphysics is a part of who I am. And some of it sprinkles out into my business. But you need to tap into those you can't actually reach, right? And what do I mean by that? Like their energy. So Oprah tells this story where she never felt alone on the way to the top, even though you can imagine that the path that she took, often she was the only woman in the room, often she was the only Black person, and so specifically the only Black woman in the room. I can identify with that as a financial advisor. I was often the only Black female in any given room, especially with Morgan Stanley in the beginning, especially in Georgia. In my office, there weren't a lot of Black people, let alone Black women. And then because of the track that I was on, like I wanted to excel very quickly, it meant that I put myself around advisors who were ultra successful. And a lot of them, you probably heard me say, have been in business since I was born. So, but the great thing was they never saw me as competition. So I didn't feel lonely because they didn't exile me or like, alienate me. They welcomed me and they brought me in because they didn't see me as competition, which I know you can make all kind of assumptions about what that is and what that means. I don't have time for that because it helped me become successful. So I used it to my benefit. And Oprah talks about tapping into the 10,000 or whatever people that she represents as a Black woman, but also the ancestors and just the energy of the successful people that could be in that room. And she's like, no worry, guys, I represent you. These are my words, not hers. No worry, guys, I represent you. I'm coming in the room so all of us can get in this room. That you have to think of too, because you are not alone. Only reason you feel like you are is because you haven't brought the right people with you. Even if it's just those 5 people, those 3 people, you won't feel alone. Even if you're tapping into the energy of the people who are coming before you, who you're paving the way for, tapping into them and saying, no worries, I got y'all. Just follow me, follow me. You are the leader. And if you continue believing that, then you won't feel so alone. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to put it in the comments. Tell me in the comments, have you felt alone in business? Yes or no? Have you felt alone in business? Just tell me in the comments, yes or no, if you've had that experience. And let's just recap your field work, what you're going to do. And you are going to connect with 3 to 5 people. I said 4 or 5, but 3 to 5 people, and just ask them if they like to support each other, like each other's posts and all of that. We've already talked about it. You get it. Reach out to 3 or 5 people and see if you can build the startings of a community. It might grow from there, but don't worry about that. And then tap into the energy of the people you represent, the people who came before you even. And then be ready to build your own community. Now, in my communities this week, we've been talking about what it takes to build your own community, build your own tribe. And that's something that if you're not already doing, you need to. So if you could build and cultivate your own tribe that you're pouring into, some people that you are responsible for. And like I said earlier, that takes time. But you can join my free community to see how it's done. I'm not saying I do it perfectly. I'm just saying I'm doing it. So if you haven't done it and maybe you have some fear around it or don't know what it looks like, then jump in, get some ideas. You might not do it exactly like I do because I don't do it exactly like anybody else. So don't feel like you have to completely copy, but maybe you'll get some ideas and you'll see that it's possible. So join my community. And we're typically private practice business owners or service-based business owners. And you can do that by going to presidentiallifestyle.com. Please be sure to put the www in front of that. You can click the link in this description. I didn't put it in there right away. So if you listen to this live, just give me a second. I'll drop it in. But understand that you are going to get free financial therapy tips, tools, resources, examples. I'm going to walk you through what it will take. There are 4 phases, and based on those 4 phases, and then there are 4 common emotional types. I'm going to give you all this information for free because you need it. You needed to have that awareness. And once you have the awareness, then you can decide what to do next with the information I give you. But the information is free. And trust me, it will change your life. And if you are having a conference or a workshop, or you want someone to speak to your team, you can also hire me as a speaker. Just go to www.presidentiallifestyle.com/hire-Kene. All right, this video has been longer than I wanted it to be. I was hoping for 10 minutes, but oh my gosh, I always have so much information for you guys, but I'm going to start making it shorter so I make sure that you can get all the way to the end because I know that you need this information. You don't know it yet, but I do. So, and I want you to trust me, count on me. And I don't want you to feel alone because you are not alone. I am here with you, like Michael Jackson said. But not not sure how you feel about him, but doesn't matter because those words are still true and ring when you need somebody. You need to know that you are not alone, and you need to know that somebody is there for you because sometimes you don't know who to call on. And I am not saying that you and I have to be together forever. I'm saying on this part of your journey, you should join the Financial Therapy Challenge because it will change the way you do business, which will change your life. And that's all I have to say about that. So I'll see you next week.